Hello everyone, I'm Erin Patience and welcome back to a new episode of Erin's Expeditions where we talk everything Christ and entertainment. So, first and foremost, happy November. Yay. So for today's episode, it'll be just me and I've done a solo episode I think once. So this is my second time doing a solo episode. And yeah, when I thought about the preparation and the topic for this episode, what came to mind was, you know what, this can be a pretty cool one on one conversation. So if you're watching, if you're listening, if you're, I don't know, seeing this on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, please feel free to talk to me as well in the comment section. You can send an email. You can, what else? You can send a dove. That would be that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I think this can be a pretty meaningful conversation. So let's hop on into it. So today we're talking all things the breakthrough after your breakdown. Um, yeah, it can be a pretty hefty one as well, because I think all of the times where I've been like, Lord, hear me out now, Chief, hear me out. I want to do ABCD, and then I get to, let's do the actual ABCD. And then you just realize it's not as easy or as easily achievable as you thought it would be. And yeah, I think a lot of us can actually resonate with that. Um, Whether it is an assignment you have due if you're a student, or whether it's a deadline you have due, or whether it's something as measly as, let me think, you know, certain, like any kinds of goals you have set for yourself, big or small. But I think as people, none of us or very few of us would want to remain stagnant in whichever way, whether it is in your finances, whether it is in your walk with Christ, whether it is with family, friends, the dating life. um yeah, I think a lot of us, you want to grow, you want to continue to grow as a person, you want to continue to grow in maturity, in the way you think, in the things you want to achieve. So complacency can very easily become a place of mediocrity. Complacency can easily become a place of comfortability. And I think if you're someone who, like, you want to grow, you want to move, you want to, you know, get the bag, then it's very easy to like head dive into something. And the moment you hit your first roadblock, you're like, oh my word, what's happening? Hold up, I did not sign up for this. And yeah, so I wrote down a few notes because I came prepared for this one, y'all. I was like, if it's gonna be a solo episode, I ought to have my extra notes here. Um, so yeah, I think one thing that I've learned that I mentioned a few seconds ago would be the whole thing about complacency. Um, like in my own life, whenever I would be like, hey, let me try something new, let me go accomplish ABCD. And then the moment I would hit my first roadblock, those doubts set in about, can I do this? Am I made to do this? Do I have the skills, the drive, the diligence? Do I have the means, even to that degree, to actually do what I really, 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 really want to do? And yeah, however, what I have found with that whole ordeal, that it would be a lot of times it would be linked to the fear of the unknown. So you come to a point where you're like, okay, breakthrough, let's go. The breakdown comes with the breakthrough. Like, yeah. And if you actually take a few steps back and you look at what the actual cause is, why this roadblock is hitting you that much, I think it's more than just, oh, Aaron, it was difficult, or oh, people don't understand me. But if you actually look at a deeper cause as to why maybe this breakdown is so hefty, I think it can be traced to a certain degree of fear, whether it is the fear of being seen, whether it is the fear of the unknown, whether it is the fear of, I think, the fear of being vulnerable. Because a lot of times when it's a breakthrough, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with, you know, can I do this? Because I think a lot of times we hype ourselves up so much, and then and then life comes and life is like, sweetie, calm down. You're not all that. And then it can be very hard on your confidence. However, what I've learned in my own life is that that breakdown before you get to your breakthrough isn't always bad. And I think a lot of times it's not always bad. However, you take the knock and the blow from this breakdown, how if it hurts, it hurts. I don't think anything. How do I say this? I think when you really think about the things that are worthwhile, you come to a point where you realize that nothing worthwhile is ever easy to obtain, at least. Um, I have a friend at church, and his mom once said something at our life group, and it was, the road to success is marked with sacrifice. And when she said that, I was like, wow, oh my, wow, hectic. Because when you think about all the things you want to achieve in your life, or the things you have achieved in your life, there's always been a degree of, I need to sacrifice something in order to get to it. Sometimes it is, you're sacrificing the time you would be spending on Instagram. You would be sacrificing time you would be out with friends. Sometimes it is sacrificing a lot of things that you think aren't a big deal. Then you come to a point where you realize it actually is a big deal. And I think also, like, it's a test of your maturity. Like, what would I give up in order to obtain the breakthrough? And not necessarily in a way that, like, I know that a breakthrough is not only just, hustle culture. Ooh, should I make a video on that? I think so. um, I think, yeah, a lot of times we can misconstrue our breakthrough with hustle culture, which easily I can see why. I can see why those things can be so intertwined. But I think from a believer's point of view, a breakthrough is something more than just wealth, or something more than just your career, or like any tangible kind of thing. I think a breakthrough. Oh, I actually looked at this. um, a breakthrough is a reminder of God's sovereignty, His faithfulness, and His power over each and every obstacle we face. So, when you look at a lot of people in the Bible, um, who can I think about? Joseph. Joseph. So he had dreams and everything, and like God would help him to interpret those dreams and, help people and all of those kind of things. And there's a point where Joseph is he's imprisoned, wrongfully so, and he meets two people, and he helps both of them to interpret their dreams. But he says to the cupbearer, yeah, to the cupbearer, he's like, hey, please remember me when the Pharaoh is like, hey, what's up? Then you should be like, this is a guy in jail. His name is Joseph, and he has the gift of interpreting dreams. And a few years go on, and the cupbearer, he forgot about Joseph. And like God has a lot of times, God has shown Joseph through dreams, what would be of his life. Maybe not like directly, but the dreams he would have about his brothers, about just people being like, "Yo, Joseph," um, and when I place myself into his situation, being like, Lord, but you've promised all of these things, you've said all of these things regarding my life, but here I am in jail, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good whatsoever. But if I can give you guys a word of encouragement, your breakdown often is an invitation to step closer to God in whichever way. When I think about ooh, beginning of this year, oh wow. So beginning of this year, I graduated last year, and then this year came around, and guys, I was like, Lord, it's about to pop off. You gave me a word, let's go. Guys, the first few months of this year, I've been losing close friends and close bonds. I've been challenged in a lot of ways. Um, yeah, when I think about the beginning of this year and where we are now, I can definitely say God has done such a work because the way He has tended to my character, and I think I said this in a podcast once, but the way He tended to my character had to define me and mold me even more to carry the weight of my calling. And when I realized that, what came to mind was that breakdown was actually a blessing for your breakthrough. That God wouldn't just send you into something being like, you know what, here is um here is a Lamborghini, and here you go, enjoy it. And I like, but Lord, I don't even know how to drive. I've never even I've never even been in a car, but you give me this. Like it'll just become a burden that I can't steward well. So what came to mind was then not every breakdown is meant to break you. And when I say like break you, I mean like, send you spiraling and spiraling like out of control. You don't know where you're going, whatever. But these moments and these pockets of confusion, feeling lost, wondering where God is, they're often an invitation to be like, Lord, what are you doing? Lord, how can I be a part of what you have spoken over me? You know, and I just think it's such a beautiful thing. Like having that moment of surrenderance, coming to God, being like, hey Lord, this is it. I am at my what's that saying? I am at my knees width, at my ends width. I am at the end of I'm at the end of myself. But a lot of times when we are at the end of ourselves, I think that can be a perfect moment for us to go to God, and He's like, that's good. So let me begin. And the journey of obedience in that moment of surrenderance is actually, it's not easy. To be completely honest, it's not easy. But I do believe it's a beautiful space for us to grow as people, as brothers, as sisters, as like whatever where you show up in people's lives as well. That often, your breakthrough isn't just meant for you. Your breakthrough, like if it's from God, your breakthrough has a very, very, very good chance of also blessing the people around you. And I think that is something I've realized as well, is that when God blesses you, it's never meant to end with you. You know, like when you bear fruit, it's never just to end with you. That those fruit that you bear, my foot is itching. That those fruit that you bear, like they're meant to be shared. They're meant to be stewarded well. They're meant to, point back to reflect what God has done in your life. They're meant to be a testimony of what He is doing, what He has done, and what He will do in your life. So yeah, it is. It's very it's very touchy ground when you think about it. You know, um, especially I think there comes a point where you're where being vulnerable with God in your breakdown is actually so needed. Guys, it is so needed because the moments where you are vulnerable with God, that's when you get to meet Him not only as like God, Lord of all, creator of everything, but you get to meet Him as Father. You get to meet Him as friend. You get to meet Him as your first love. And a lot of times, especially the amount of times where I'd be like, God, you're cool. Like my bond with you is so cool. But I don't think I can bring this before you. And yo, that was a battle with myself. It was a battle with my pride. It was a battle with, you know, not having or not growing in my walk regarding, you know, Christ and regarding my faith in Him, knowing that if He says, like, you are my beloved, I love you. If the lilies in the field, if they're taken care of, if the birds in the sky, they're taken care of, how much more will your Father in heaven not take care of you? And then it's like, Lord, yo, yo. Um, so yeah, it's a lot. But if I could give you guys a word of encouragement, is that your breakthrough will always precede your breakdown. That by the time your breakthrough comes, as I said, whether it's something small or whether it's something big, that you'll be able to be like, Lord, I remember who I was back then. And if I didn't have that little moments of subsequent L's coming my way, if I didn't have those moments of just flat out rejection, disappointment, confusion, I wouldn't have come to a point where I am at my end, where I can be like, Jesus, more than ever do I need you. Show me what the breakthrough is. Show me what the strategy is. Show me how to do the quote unquote how. Um, and I think that is when not only your faith in God grows, but you will see how it affects every other area in your life. Whether it is family, whether it is friends, whether it is your career, whether it is like your own relationship with yourself. Yeah, man. So with Afrikaans just slipped out so much. Um, but wow, we wow. It's a short episode, but um I really want to share this with you guys. It feels very intimate, like I'm talking to you guys like this. Um, but yeah. So if you haven't subscribed to the I Am Youth, please do. If you haven't followed I Am Youth, please do. And talk to us, guys. Like, send your comments, send your DMs, send a bird. But yeah, do not forget to like, to subscribe, and to follow, and to comment. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. Mwah.